Hey everyone, it's Ashley. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you some brand new products from the newest Catherine Puller release. This here is the Black Tie Gala pattern paper. There are 24 sheets included, so you get 3 sheets of each of the 8 patterns, and each pattern is a different pattern of black and white. Here is the Grateful Heart stamp set. There are some beautiful florals in here. I love that you can use the arrangements provided or create your own with the standalone stamps. And there's also coordinating dies available. So let's do a quick flip through of the 8 designs that you will get in the Black Tie Gala set. And as I mentioned, each of these patterns comes with 3 sheets of paper. I'm just going through the different patterns here. Black and white pattern paper has been really popular lately. I love the effect that it gives when added to a card, especially something like a floral card, which is not something that you would normally put black and white with, but I've been loving it, and that's what we are actually going to do today. So I've cut the patterned paper down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I've cut my white cardstock down to 5 1/2 by 3 3/4, so that it is the same length, but the width is quite smaller so that I can center it there on the patterned paper. I'm going to be using my Mini Misty because I'm going to create a sort of scene and setup with the sentiment and the floral arrangements. I'm using a transparency grid sheet so that I can first line up my sentiment perfectly, or as perfect as I can get it, right in the middle, because this is going to pave the way for the rest of my card and where I put my floral. I always take a little bit to make sure that I get at least the sentiment or the first stamp straight, because I feel like the first stamp sort of sets it off, and if the first stamp is crooked, they're all going to be crooked. So this is where I take most of my time as far as stamping, especially if it's a sentiment and I want to get it right, perfectly straight. I'm going to be using Midnight ink, also by Catherine Puller, and this is an archival ink, so it will work with Copic markers, and I'm going to be doing some Copic coloring, but this is also waterproof if you wanted to watercolor with it as well. Just be careful because it will stain your stamps, so make sure that you have a wipe handy. I've stamped this the first time, but I want a really dark black image, so I'm going to stamp it again. It looks fine, but because I'm adding the black and white pattern paper, it's really going to jump out if it's not quite dark enough. So now I'm going to add my floral patterns, and what I'm doing here is using both of the sort of half wreath arrangements, and I'm just going to put one at the very top and one at the very bottom to sort of frame the sentiment. I want this to be really the focal point, the sentiment, but I do want the flowers to also stand out. I tried different ways of putting my magnet on when really I could have put it right in the center. I don't really know what I was thinking, but anyway, the Midnight ink works so well that I really only need to stamp it one time. And since I'm going to be Copic coloring these flowers, a perfect dark impression isn't as important as it is with the sentiment, even though you'll see my first impression is pretty perfect and dark as it is. So I make sure to apply pressure all over the stamps, since I know that I probably am only going to be able to get one good impression out of this since I didn't use the magnet. But the impression is perfect and I don't have to redo it, and that makes me really happy. Now I'm going to be doing some Copic coloring on the leaves and flowers. I will go ahead and just run through quickly with you the colors that I'm using. For the leaves, I'm using YG67 and YG03. And for the flowers, you'll see I'm using V17, V15, and BV00 as my lightest color. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up, put a little bit of music on, and I hope that you enjoy the coloring. And I will see you as soon as I am done to finish the card. now that we are just about done, I am going to adhere my card front to the pattern paper, or my card front panel to the pattern paper. I'm going to be doing this with double-sided tape. You could also do this with foam tape if you wanted to add a little bit of dimension. So I'm just making sure that I get all of the edges, and then also in the middle. I want to make sure that this doesn't peel off or come off at all. I almost want it to look like it's part of the pattern paper. So I'm going to center it to make sure that you can see that black pattern on either side of the card panel, or the card front panel. And that's it. Now I'm going to adhere the entire thing to an 8-2 sized base, and this is a top folding card base. So I'm also going to adhere this with double-sided tape and making sure that I get all of the edges and the center. And once I adhere it, that's it. I believe I do add some black Nuvo drops just to give it a little bit of something. I tend to be that kind of person that adds Nuvo drops or sequins, but I didn't want to add too much. I just really wanted to pull the black through a little bit more. And I love the way that the purple and the green react with the black here. It just looks so classic to me, and it can be used for any occasion. You'll see that I went ahead and sort of tested out the Nuvo drops just to make sure it wasn't going to splatter anywhere on my card front. And after I add this last dot here, that's it. That's the entire card. I hope that you've enjoyed this quick tutorial, and let me know what your favorite product from the new release is. I will see you guys very soon. Bye.